If you're in your early 20s or 30s and you've ever thought, I'll start investing when blank, this episode's for you.
Yeah, the when my bank account hits a certain number or, when I'm making more money, when the market settles down.
There's literally always a win.
Yeah, and here's the truth. There is never a perfect time to enter the market.
Runs and dips will always come and go. The question isn't, is this the perfect time? It's, am I in the game?
Today's big idea is simple. There's never a perfect time to invest, but getting started is the most important step that you can take toward building wealth over time.
Yeah, not timing the market, not waiting for the crash, not waiting for your checking account to feel comfortable or just right.
Just starting.
So, Chase, today let's talk about the problem with the sideline mindset. And first, before we get into this, a disclaimer: this is not financial advice. Neither of us are licensed CFPs. We're not brokers. We have no financial standing in the professional world. We are just two guys who are investing and learning how to trade right alongside you guys. And so this video is meant for educational and entertainment purposes only. So, Chase, let's start by being honest, right? This is how I think most guys think because it's how you and I started to think. The idea that I just need to save up first, I need to hit a certain number before I start investing.
Yeah. Or, one of my personal favorites from my own life is that I want my bank account to hit a certain number before I even get started. Like that's when I'll be comfortable enough, to have this extra money to put into the market and see if I can make some money from it.
Right, exactly. And, I think there is some value, obviously, to having your debt paid down, to having a stable checking account situation, or maybe even a savings account, an emergency account. All of those are absolutely valid. But assuming that you have those those things covered, no big outstanding debt, there's not some financial milestone when you're suddenly ready.
Yeah. And the trap is always going to be that number is going to keep moving on you. The
Right.
longer you wait, that number is just going to change and change. You're going to give yourself more excuse after more excuse, and you might not ever start.
And part of that is that life has its ups and downs, right? There are always going to be situations that come out of left field. Suddenly, the car needs a repair. Suddenly, your wife needs something for work. All of that is very true and very real. But to your point, if you start with, well, let me hit $5,000 and then I'll invest. You hit $5,000 and now suddenly you want to hit 10. You hit 10 and now suddenly 20K is the new number.
Yeah, I found myself almost getting selfish with the money. I would make a certain amount a month and then think, you know what? I don't want to lose it. I don't want to risk losing it. I worked hard for this. And so I would just keep that money in my bank account because I liked looking at a big number. But, the economic principle I failed to remember from my 4 years at Texas A&M was that sitting money is just losing money.
Exactly. And that was the impetus behind creating this episode, coming up with this idea to talk through for a YouTube video. Something that I think was the biggest awakening that I had in the second half of last year, right? I buy a house, we've got plenty of things to save for, but in my mind, I was trying to get my bank account back to a certain number to find security. But
Mhm.
as you said, inflation and buying power are economic forces working in the background that quite honestly don't care what number you have in your checking account, right? The uncomfortable truth is that inflation eats into your savings when it just sits in cash.
Yeah, even if you're not spending it, its value is shrinking. So your monetary amount when you open up your Wells Fargo app might say, congratulations, your bank account is still full, but the thing that's going on in the background is that it's actually diminishing in value every day that you're not using it.
Yeah, if you pay attention to the news, to the market, you know that annual inflation has been running about a little less than 3%, roughly 2.7% as of late 2025. That's still above the Federal Reserve's target of 2% per year.
That doesn't sound dramatic, 2 or 3%. Who cares?
But here's what that actually means, Chase. If you had $100 in 2015 to buy the same amount of goods and services in 2025, it would cost you about $135.45.
That's crazy. Well, let that sink in.
Your $100 from 2015 now needs $135 just to do the same job. Or flipping it, Your $100 today only buys what about $74 did back then in 2015.
That's theft. That is wild.
It is. And it's something that far too few Americans actually realize. If your money isn't working, it's quietly losing ground.
Now, let's be clear here. We are not saying throw your last $500 to the stock market tomorrow.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. There's an order to this. Like I said earlier, before you invest, you should have a couple of things, right? An emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of your expenses in case the absolute worst happened. No high interest credit card debt. That is without a doubt the most expensive and debilitating thing that most Americans face today. If you can get rid of that high interest credit card debt, that is absolutely the first place to start.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just signed up for the American Airlines one to start getting those travel points because
Mhm.
I needed a good credit card. But you look down at the bottom of your terms and services, and it's anywhere from 19 to 27% of interest. So I mean, like if on average, if you're paying 22% on a credit card, I mean, like that's got to be your investment right there. You need to pay that off.
Absolutely. We did the same thing, bought a new fridge for the house. APR is 29%, thanks
Mm,
Lowe's. And obviously, that immediately had to be a scenario where we strategized going in. Hey, what can we afford to do? What can we, afford to pay off over X number of months? Because eating into that interest can never once become a reality for us. So once those things are handled, you've got your emergency fund, you've taken down your high interest credit card debt. Now your cash needs to be employed. Now your cash needs a job.
hmm No, I'd say the first place that needs to go is a high yield savings account. I ended up hitting up my financial planner for this last year because I'm one of those people that likes to just look at a full savings account.
Hmm.
I want to feel the peace of knowing, okay, I still have X amount of money in my account, and having it in a normal checking account was doing nothing. It was getting wrecked by inflation. And so I finally moved a large sum over to a high yield savings account to just start.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the realization that I came to as well. Having that high yield savings account, for those that don't know, that's an account where you're storing your money and the bank is paying you a percentage to have it. Right now, I think the average APY is somewhere around 3. When I opened my account, it was up north of 4. Those were the glory days. It was awesome to be
hmm
getting that interest check every single month. But obviously that amount moves with the market. So what kind of money are you putting into a high yield savings account? You're putting short term cash. Like you said, you get no benefit from keeping a large amount in your checking account. You really want to keep the amount that it takes to pay your monthly expenses every month, maybe plus a little bit extra if you're taking a trip, if you need to, buy something for your car. That's what I've kind of settled on is what sits in the checking account. And the rest of that highly liquid cash, the money that I might need for an emergency fund or to, put a down payment on a new fridge or a new appliance, that's going to go to the high interest savings account.
Yeah. And it's not like this massive return. You're looking at, like you said, on average, 3%, and last year, I think when I did mine, I think it was 4.9. And I thought, oh, this is great. And that's, what I'm locked in at. No, that's not how it works. But
Yeah.
at least it's earning something, right? It's not just slowly being eaten alive by inflation.
Right. Outpacing inflation. That's the key of the high yield savings account. So the second place that you can put it, and where we're going to talk a lot about on this channel, is the stock market, or specifically ETFs, right? In this episode, we're not talking about day trading, we're not talking about swing trading, we're not talking about the high yield small cap betas that rise and fall with a change in the wind. We're talking about stability that usually comes from ETFs when we're talking long-term investing.
Yeah. And these ETFs, if you're not aware, then ETF stands for an exchange traded fund. It lets you buy a basket of companies in one purchase. It's built for diversification, a lot more stable than, just running blindly into a Twitter user's vouch for a specific stock because they said that on one day it's going to go up. And instead you end up regretting ever following that account, which a
Right.
few years ago is kind of what initially got me when I first started thinking about, how do I make money on the stock market?
Yeah.
And I tried the whole penny stock thing, was in that for about 10 minutes, and then went full on with my own cash and thought, you know what, this person has a lot of followers. Let me hop in instantly got bit, and so that's why we're we're advocating for more of a long term play here, and not the day to day trading.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of those broad market examples, if you're a novice, if you're truly finding this as you do your initial research, most popular ETFs include the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF, VOO, the iShares Core S&P 500 ETF, IVV, or the Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF, VTI.
Yeah, and there's also dividend focused ones. Some people
Mhm.
look at Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF, stock ticker SCHD, or Vanguard High Dividend Yield ETF, stock ticker VYM. Those are great. Ones that pay dividends,
Yep.
that's like bonus.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like a little bit of extra security on top of
Hmm.
the stock that you're obviously in. For diversification behind beyond just large U.S. companies, which the international market is kind of popping right now. You can look at the Vanguard Total International Stock ETF VXUS or the iShares Russell 1000 Growth ETF IWF.
Yeah. And just to be clear, like in suggesting these things or even in mentioning them, that this is not financial advice. We are new traders that are learning along with you guys. And so just as a disclaimer, we're not trying to
Yeah.
bring on any liability here.
No, absolutely not. Not financial advice. We're not professionals. We're just guys that are going through the motions just like you are. We're trying to learn, we're trying to build our financial futures and, thought we'd share these thoughts along the way. So again, entirely for educational, entertainment purposes to spark discussion, not guide your financial advice. And, on top of all that, we're not breaking anything new to the broader market here. These are widely known ETFs. You can do your own research if you're curious. You will never mistake us for financial gurus or Twitter names that are trying to hand you the next, high yield beta stock.
Yeah, this isn't a, oh my gosh, they uploaded. I have to watch in the first 10 minutes. Otherwise, I'm going to miss my opportunity to get in these stocks that they're advising for. That's not going to be us. So,
Yeah,
but to wrap things up, I think the overarching summary is that this investing that we're both learning, it's a long-term game.
it sure is. Don't let short term market noise dictate your decisions. If you're on our channel, we probably by this point have a couple of other videos up where we talk about what to do when the market crashes, for example. The worst thing that you can do is let the short term noise distract you from your 5 year plan, your 10-year plan, your 25 plus year plan.
Yeah. I mean, we're building assets, and building assets is about the future version of you, and not the present one, not that instant gratification. One of my mottos on my gym board is that the strength that you're creating today is providing for your future or for your family in the future tomorrow.
Hmm.
And so the stuff that you're running into now is not meant to just give you that immediate, dopamine release, but instead is something that you're trying to secure just to make you a better person, more educated person, hopefully a good husband, a good father, whatever, God has for you, for the long term.
Yeah. The market's going to go up, it's going to go down.
But, historically, the market beats timing the market.
The biggest mistake that most guys chase, what would that be?
Probably just waiting,
Yeah.
doing nothing.
Yeah. If you're financially stable, you've handled the basics, starting small and starting consistently truly can change your entire trajectory.
Now, it is important. I think everyone needs to do their own research or talk to a trusted financial planner. Don't just go about it yourself.
Yeah. For one final time in this episode, this is not financial advice.
No, no, but it might be the nudge that you needed, to finally put some steps to an overarching idea that you've had in the back of your mind.
Yeah, that's well said. If this episode helps you think differently about investing, share it with a friend who keeps saying, I'll start next year. I'll start when X has happened.
Yeah, but I mean, next year turns into 5 years fast if you're not aware.
Yeah. And the earlier you start, the less you have to rely on luck or good timing, and the more that you can truly rely on trusting fundamentals and just being consistent. So, for those of you that have stuck around to the end of the video, we certainly appreciate it. Subscribe for more here on Life Lessons Capital, and we look forward to talking to you in the next video.